Hi, in this video, I'll be talking about my project Flexible Catalog, which is flexible like JSON and fast like SQL. Now you must be wondering, this is Flexible Catalog, which I'll be going to talk about. It is a product catalog where JSON columns hold dynamic attributes exposed by virtual persistent columns for indexing and fast filters, giving the agility of semi-structured data with the performance of relational indexes. This project solves real-world problems, handling dynamic product attributes without rigid schema changes, enabling fast filtering and sorting on frequently queried fields, scaling data ingestion for larger data sets, maintaining data integrity and validation even with semi-structured trees, providing an API that safely exposes complex queries while preventing injection or malperformed requests. On the screen, you can see project, which is on GitHub, and it is public for everyone to review them and view how I have built this project, what all tools I have used, and how one can use it and see the working. Coming back to my project, I have built it using Maria database and MySQL. By this, you can analyze that this project is a hybrid project, which is built for hybrid databases, where one can use MySQL and Maria database as well. Both databases can, depending upon the customer's choice. The API that is used for validation and for metrics purpose is built using Node.js and Express.js, Docker Compose for reproducible setups, Python for synthetic data separation. As I have said, this project is a hybrid database project where two types of differently i- opposite databases can be used together for single purpose, depending upon how we can use it. So this supports two EB flows, one MySQL versions 8 plus above, which uses JSON and generated stored columns, and the MariaDB node used physical index columns populated by name. The files for both the versions are different. So the files for MySQL are listed like Docker Compose, schema.sql, load data.py. Whereas for MariaDB, compatible files are Docker Compose MariaDB, schema MariaDB compact, and load data MariaDB. Talking about the API, which is used for searching, pagination, productivity, and analytics. It is compatible for both types of database. Here, the API is not differently built for both the databases. The API is built in such a way that it can switch itself from MySQL to MariaDB, depending upon what database is being used by the user. And for that, two types of run commands are given in my README file, one with MySQL and one with MariaDB. First, ensuring Docker is running, starting the stack, generating demo data locally after the database container finishes, initialization, loading the generated SQL into MySQL, confirming API health. These are the steps which are common in both MySQL and MariaDB. But the commands are totally different for both the databases. Don't need to worry, I have mentioned the commands by README file. You can re- have a look at them and review them. For validation and testing, I have used Postman. You can use Perl as well for that. because it's very easy and handy to use, and it creates very less hassle as well. For that, I'll be sending the same commands to Postman or Perl and running those the same commands through the MySQL queries as well to verify my data. These commands are running correctly or not in ensuring the validation as well. Coming on to the most important question, that how it is switching between MySQL and MariaDB. The API, that is server.js, it reads the columns, and if when we run MySQL, it with generated stored columns, those columns appear automatically. But for MariaDB mode, we ensure loader populated these physical columns. To switch DB engines, we stop the current compose and start the desired compose file, reloading the data with the appropriate loader SQL file. While talking about this project, if some errors occur, here's how we can sort it out. If DB init errors occurs, one should check container logs and inspect the SQL error. It commonly is caused by function that support the older DB versions, syntax differences, or file encoding problems. And one faces low insert problems. For that, one can use load data in file or the CSV files rather than many single inserts when possible. And for MySQL, products.csv with load data file runs really fast, and we can overcome that slow insert problems in MySQL. If someone is facing connection refused error, so for that, we ensure that environmental variables, DB host, and containers are on the same network. If they are on different networks, then definitely connection refuse errors are likely to occur. To overcome that, make sure it is on the same network. Last, if you face data mismatch error, then make sure that you are loading the database with its loader file only. For example, if you are loading MySQL database, then make sure you are using MySQL Docker Compose file, MySQL load data.py file, and MySQL schema.sql. If by chance you are using MariaDB database, for example, and you are using Docker Compose of MariaDB, but load data.py of MySQL, then data mismatch error occurs, and mostly the name of the columns or attributes start to differ, timings differ, and these error occurs. So to overcome that, make sure you are loading the correct loaded files. So talking about the technical details of this project, constraints, what are being used here are JSON validation, numeric strings, and positive price. Triggers, normalizing, JSON on insert, auto update, timestamps. Views, we can view the analytics in product summary. Is validate filters before hitting databases. Logging, query execution times while logging. Health checks, Docker ensuring service recovery. Scalable data intention, that is scalable growth for larger data sets. So flexible catalog solves a real engineering problem with a pragmatic, portable approach that works on both MySQL and MariaDB. The MariaDB part is a production-minded, no fragile DB tricks, just explicit indexable columns that gives you reliable performance across environments. Thank you.